I, 24F, had been with my fiancé, 27M, for 4 years and he proposed to me on my birthday last year. I always thought our relationship was great and that we were unstoppable, but I guess that was wrong. Usually, he has always let me use his phone, games, or because my phone would be screwed up. Recently, he was being very distant and even getting upset if I asked for his phone. We're always open about our phones, and if the other would like to be sure if we haven't been disloyal, we were both okay with it. I shrugged it off as maybe he's planning something for my birthday since it's coming up. A couple days ago, he asked me if we could try opening up the relationship. This took me by surprise because he's never been the type to get physical or emotional with anyone else but me. I tell him that I'm uncomfortable with the thought of that, and he kept explaining how it could build us up emotionally to see other people's perspectives on how we can improve our love. I continued telling him no and saying that it doesn't feel right. I never wanted to be with anyone else but him. He has been trying to convince me for the past day, but I didn't budge. He ended up saying whatever and going on a walk for a couple hours. When he left, I cried my eyes out because it made me think he wasn't being loyal. Unlucky for him, he had left his phone on the counter in the kitchen, so I took it upon myself to check. To my horror, I saw my worst nightmare. He was messaging a coworker, we'll call her Kim, for a couple weeks. Messages saying I love you and let's plan a little date together. I cried and continued reading. I saw that they were trying to plan a way to leave me or get an open relationship started. Seeing as though the open relationship plan failed, they started saying that he should leave me and they can be in an open relationship. I'm so hurt and distraught by this. I thought he would be with me through thick and thin. Not to mention, I have a daughter, 6, that has absolutely loved him and thought of him as her dad. I'm crushed and betrayed for both me and my daughter. She was going to be our flower girl and have the prettiest dress, and now I have to tell her everything. My worst nightmare is coming to fruition and I can't stop crying. I'm trying to be strong for her, but it's so hard. As I type this, I'm watching my daughter play with her dolls while watching TV, and my fiancé is upstairs playing a game. For now, I'm thinking of my next steps and staying strong for my girl. Edit, I know it's only been a couple hours, but thank you everyone for your support so far. I'm taking everyone's advice and I do plan on leaving. I'm going to come up with a plan to put all of his stuff out while he's working one day and completely cut him out. Also, a couple questions I've seen that I should clarify on. With his messages, he had asked me a couple days ago to open the relationship and I told him no. I should have clarified that for the past day he had been non-stop pestering me over opening the relationship. My fault. At the time of writing I was so distraught. After asking me the first time, he told Kim what my answer was, and Kim had said you should just leave at this point, etc., etc. But he thought it was best to keep trying to convince me. Like I said, that was my bad. It was mostly Kim saying that he should leave. Also, some people may be confused at him leaving his phone while he left. We live in a wide open rural area, and usually when he needs to blow off steam, he goes through the backyard and to the woods that's a little down the yard. I never had a need to check his phone, but I trusted him at that time. He usually left to blow off steam or something. Again, I'm so sorry for any confusion during my distraught time of writing this. And thank you again. Update 1. So my previous post has blown up a bit and I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for the kind words, messages, and advice. I'm definitely not getting back with him, and last night while he slept in our bed, I messaged his sister, whom he doesn't have much good relationship with anyways, everything, and even sent her the screenshots. She was super apologetic and even said that she'll help me get all of his stuff packed and out of my house. I inherited this house from my grandfather when he passed away. Tomorrow he goes into work and that's when I'll be packing all of his stuff and sending his ass out the door. To everyone that was concerned about my daughter, I spoke with her this morning. We went to Starbucks together and I told her that me and him were going to separate. I told her in a lighter way, but this was a summary of what I said. She looked deeply upset, but said that she understands and sometimes things don't work out. She hugged me and we had hot chocolate and cake pops together. I didn't tell her why we were breaking up, just said that it wasn't in the stars. So far today me and her have just been playing and enjoying ourselves. I cried when we got home and she just gave me a kiss on the cheek and said, "I'll always love you, mommy." I'm just sobbing my eyes out because I'm so happy and thankful to have the sweetest little girl on the planet. Sorry for any confusion in this post, if any. I'll be sure to update when all of this is said and done. Until then, I'm going to give my daughter my full attention today and laugh and play together. Update 2. Hello people of Reddit. Sorry I didn't post an update yesterday, a lot had happened. So first off, I wanted to say thank you guys so much for the continued support. It means the absolute world to me. And I didn't expect any of this to blow up like it did. I've seen a couple of TikToks, so I'm very surprised. So here is the, not so long, awaited update. So first off, around 6 a.m. when my ex had left, I texted his sister and a few friends to help move his stuff out. They got here after I had put my daughter on the bus for school, so between 8 to 9 a.m. We went in and got everything. All of his clothes, shoes, etc., and boxed it up and put it outside. We had finally gotten done around 2 p.m. He doesn't have much stuff, and the stuff he has that I bought that aren't clothes, I'm keeping to do whatever I please with it. After we were done, His sister said that their parents were on standby after hearing what happened. I had made the group chat with his family while we were doing all the packing, and to say they were livid is an understatement. I also emailed his boss and HR member. Every department where he works is assigned an hour member. They thanked me and said they will handle this accordingly. Then the show starts. I see his truck pull in the driveway and he looked pissed. He got out and slammed his door, cursing me out for him getting in trouble. Luckily my friends, 2 of them were guys, had gotten between us, so he didn't do anything. He was screaming at me and his sister, calling us witches and screaming at me more, saying that he was only trying to improve our relationship. I told him I didn't care what he had to say, I wanted him gone. He huffed and then started asking where my daughter was so that he can speak with her. I didn't tell him that instead of riding the bus home, my dad picked her up. I let the school and bus driver know in advance. I told her that he was not speaking to my daughter and I want him gone. He got enraged and lunged towards me. My friends had held him back away from me, and that's when I called his parents because I knew he wouldn't leave easily. They came and started curing at him, saying that they didn't raise him this way and that he is going to now be officially disowned. Meaning he was cut out of the wills and everything. He ended up just having a hissy fit on the ground like a little kid. Stomping and screaming that I couldn't do this to him and that he still loves me. I told him I don't care, leave. Eventually his parents made him get his boxes and leave. As he was leaving he told me, I swear I'll be back. I swear. I laughed and just walked back into my house. I'm working on getting a restraining order set in place and I hope to never see him or his lover ever again. My daughter is staying with my parents for the week to be sure that in case him or his lover come back, she won't see anything she shouldn't see. So far, nothing has happened and I got a brand new security system being set up as well as a Ring camera. If anything happens I'll post another update, but hopefully it won't be anything bad. Update 3. Hey guys. So sorry I haven't done any form of update, it's been super stressful recently. Thank you all again for your lovely messages. It makes me so happy to see so much support for my situation. Luckily my ex hasn't tried to come back, but a few days ago his new girlfriend, the coworker, came to my door pounding on it. I obviously didn't answer, and since my car has been in the shop, she, I guess, assumed I was gone. I won't lie, it was kind of scary. A lot of you guys have been saying I should get an alarm system and a bunch of cameras around my house and such. And I completely agree that I need to get to it. I'm desperately looking for a job, and until I get one, I can't afford an alarm system and I have nobody to stay with me and my daughter. Right now any money in my savings is for groceries, bills, etc. for me and my girl, and even that is running low. If anything happens I'll update, but until then, I'm just trying to overcome this financial situation. Ciao. Update 3. Hey guys. It's been a long while and I'm sorry for not giving any updates. First off I want to say thank you to everyone in your kind words. Me and my daughter are doing great and have never been better. In the past couple months, I got a new job making a nice amount of money. I ended up selling my old home and moving away. I didn't move too far so that my daughter could still see her grandparents. She will still be going to the same school and such, so that's a relief. Right now she's watching Bluey and eating some lunch. Some of you may be wondering how my daughter has felt recently with everything going on, and she's doing good now. Back then I knew she was upset and I had help from my mom get her into a child counseling. She absolutely loves her and my daughter thinks of her as a best friend. Luckily, I haven't ran into my ex or anything like that, so I've been very relieved to know that me and my girl are safe. I have been hearing things from mutual friends about how things have been going on his end, and karma definitely bit him in the butt. Recently him and his girlfriend had broken up because she ended up pregnant and he didn't want any responsibility of the kid. He now works a fast food job making barely anything and can only afford a small cramped apartment. Apparently he relapsed into his drinking habits and even smokes more now. I guess ever since he lost his job, his life spiraled. All in all, things are good and life is great. I don't know if I'll update this ever again since the story is at a close, but maybe if something does happen, I'll do another post. For now, this is the end of the story. Thank you to everyone for your support. I couldn't believe internet strangers could put such a smile on my face. Now on to the next story. Story 2. My fiancé suggested an open relationship. I do not want that in a relationship. I feel like our relationship is coming to an end. My brain is scattered in a bunch of different directions, and I feel like there is a lot for me to talk about. I'll try and organize everything as best as I possibly can. I am going to dump a lot of my thoughts here, mainly as I haven't been able to talk to anyone about them. My fiancé, 26F, and I, 26M, have been together for almost 4 years now. We have a 2.5-year-old at home and I am blessed that my fiancé is a stay-at-home mom. Early in our relationship, I was working towards starting a business and leaving my well-paying job, all of which happened after the love and support from my partner. Since then I made a lot of sacrifices in my life to make the business successful and to also be a good father. I completely gave up my hobbies, mountain biking, boating/fishing, gaming, guitar, act, and also any friends to make this happen. We have had a lot of ups and downs in our relationship like any other. I have always struggled with anxiety and communication issues while she struggled with anxiety and depression. This relationship was the first one I was actually emotionally immersed, not some fling, in, and I felt like I had, and still have, a lot to learn about how to effectively communicate. There was a time 3 to 4 months in where I made a flirty comment to someone via Snapchat and she found out by going through my phone. This resulted in an intense argument and ended with her throwing my phone across the room in rage and destroying it. I was completely wrong for what I did and really regret it. I am a good/faithful man and would never consider cheating. Well, we have had several arguments since then about various unrelated topics, some of which have led to physical abuse against me. She laid hands on me 5 times and it eventually got to a point to where the last time it happened 10 months ago it actually hurt. This is where I began to actually realize how my poor communication is hurting our relationship. I am not excusing this behavior in any way, and we sat down and had a long talk about our feelings and what had happened. It really came down to her having a very tough childhood with physically abusive parents/family members, and I think that even though she knows it's wrong, it's been programmed into her. Communicating really helped here, and I feel as if we are really making progress. Early on in our relationship, my fiancé shared that she was interested in women as well, and always has been since she could remember. I was the first person she has ever told this, as her family is pretty religious and any type of homosexuality wasn't allowed in their household. 4 to 5 months ago we started talking about this again and she really wanted to come out publicly. Who am I to deny her something that she wanted to do since she was little? I fully supported her and she made a Facebook post basically saying she was queer and nothing is changing except the fact that you now know. She assured me that nothing is changing about our relationship. Soon after, while we were being intimate, she started saying things like "I want you to another girl act," lots of dirty talk along those lines. I played along as it was hot and fun and it's between me and her. Later there were conversations about possibly having an open relationship, and we talked about it a bit and ended up coming to an agreement that we would get an app and possibly find a couple in the same position and maybe do a swap or threesome kind of thing. Slowly I started to feel more and more uncomfortable with this idea, but she seemed so happy. My thought process was just because it's uncomfortable doesn't mean it's bad, and I continued to play along. We set ground rules where she was only allowed to do stuff with other females, but the more we talked it kinda turned into no intercourse with other men. We were talking/flirting with another couple, but it became pretty clear that no one really was interested in me, really, and mainly her. She started talking to this one guy and asked if she could flirt/sex possibly. This made me incredibly uncomfortable, but I went along with it for some reason. She just seemed so happy and excited and I didn't want to take that away. They sexted and I even read over all of it. None of it felt good. I felt like a loser. Even in the messages she called me a free babysitter. Why am I still going along with this? What is wrong with me? Who knows, but I still played along. It was at this point she started to visually see me becoming emotionally distressed/uncomfortable with the situation, but I couldn't tell her no. She asked if she could go out for drinks tonight with this guy downtown and I said no at first, but then said yes. I don't know what persuaded me. She told me that she really didn't want to do anything sexual at all and it was just to go out to have fun. This guy's apartment was above a bar. They met up and she drank a lot of alcohol. I was texted her while she was with him and she stopped responding for almost 2 hours. Something hit me and I could not stop crying. I wanted all of this to end. I made a terrible decision letting any of this happen. I even texted her that I felt alone and I couldn't stop crying and I wanted her to come back home. Still no response. Another 30 minutes goes by and she said she is sorry and on her way home. She messaged me saying that this was way too much and I didn't talk to her until she got home. She made it back and came into our room where I was crying and I immediately hugged her and she was silent. I laid down on the bed and she started telling me that she went further than expected and I asked how far and she replied with neither of us came. I delved deeper knowing I was not going to like what she is about to say, but she told me they made out, he ate her out, and they briefly had intercourse with no protection and she stopped it. We had quite a long argument over this. She didn't say a single word really, it was pretty much just me crying and letting out my feelings uncontrollably. A few days later we talked about it again and she told me she didn't like any of it and felt like she was taken advantage of. She told me that the guy got on top of her after eating her out and just put it in and she kept pushing him out, saying things like me and my fiancé agreed that we wouldn't have intercourse. This is off limits. It only lasted a couple seconds and she left right after that happened. From what I understand it sounded like she got drunk raped. And all I can do is take her word for it. I am here for her and we are still together. We talked about this a lot over the last couple months and I feel like things are getting better and back to normal. Well, recently, she brought up having an open relationship. She told me she really wants to experiment with other women. I feel as if we have a lot of work to do on our relationship and I am not grown enough emotionally to handle that type of relationship. I told her I do not want an open relationship. She told me that she felt like she is getting controlled, which made me feel bad. I immediately responded with, I cannot tell you what you can or can't do. I can, however, tell you how I feel and what I want/don't want. She asked me if it was a deal breaker for our relationship and I didn't respond. She ended it with, I don't want to talk about this anymore, even though she was the one to bring it up. I feel awful/toxic for doing this, but I snooped in her phone a couple times looking at mainly her Snapchats. She posts some cute/hot pictures sometimes on her story. Nothing new, just her being gorgeous. She always gets messages on there from guys saying she is sexy act. There was nothing ever to indicate that she was entertaining anyone and I have found her telling people she is taken and not interested in anyone. Recently I looked the other day and I found that she was on a best friend streak with a guy and none of the recent convos were saved. I can see the old convos of her basically saying, thanks every time the guy comments hot or cute on her previous Snap stories. It honestly concerns me that something is going on because in order to have a best friend streak she needs to be sending pictures. Why would she be sending pictures to this guy? I have not brought this up to her yet, and the combination of wanting an open relationship despite what happened in the past is making me feel like something is up. Am I crazy? I honestly am not exactly sure why I'm posting this here or what I'm expecting. I just have no one to talk to and needed to say something. Thank you all for reading. Smile.